Snow fell in Scotland on the 22nd of December, and it went on falling all over the country until the 10th of February. And anyone who lived through it will know that it was by far the worst winter in living memory. Worst hit of all was the southwest of England, where practically every road became blocked and stayed blocked. And the rest of Britain wasn't much better. There weren't enough snowplows and there wasn't enough rock salt. But most important of all, there was just too much snow. By New Year's Eve, 200 main roads were impassable, and 25,000 miles of road were blocked, and those that were open were lethal. And if there was chaos on the roads, it was just as bad on the railways. Hardly a train could move, and the whole country was covered from end to end in a great white paralyzing blanket. Perhaps the worst hit were the animals. Many cows couldn't be milked, and they couldn't be fed except by helicopter. Farming came to a standstill, and even the farmers who did manage to milk their herds couldn't get the milk away. There were many animals, not as lucky as these, who were never found at all until the thaw uncovered their frozen carcasses. But there were one or two animals that struck it lucky. Pipes froze everywhere, and for thousands, the only supply of drinking water came from corporation carts driven round the streets. The gas pressure dropped and the electricity was cut, but there was coal. At least there was, as long as you were able to go and collect it for yourself from the hard frozen stocks at the coal yard. But some people were determined to enjoy it. With every stretch of open water covered in ice as much as 6 feet thick in places, there was plenty of skating to be had and even some ice yachting. Football and racing were off altogether for weeks. Most of the grounds and tracks had disappeared completely, but some intrepid sportsmen refused to be beaten. By the end of the first week in January, the sea had begun to freeze, and our coasts and rivers began to look exactly like the Arctic. Here at Rochester, the River Medway froze right across for the first time in living memory. An iceberg 10 feet high was spotted at Greenwich. Ships and boats were held fast, and some even sank after being crushed by the ice. In places, the sea froze for as much as several hundred feet out from the shore. The Channel ferry was frozen in, and the car ferry to the Isle of Wight was stopped completely because of pack ice in the Solent. Perhaps now that it's almost a year ago, we can afford to look back at the big freeze and remember that it wasn't all misery. Some aspects of it were even quite attractive.